Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable Podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
John, what is your mission statement in a nutshell? If somebody had to say, John, what is it exactly that you do for the community? What is it? How do you help adults?
We communicate and we help people mitigate risk in retirement. Do you have a plan? Has the plan been stress tested against everything? Geopolitical, technical issues, market crashes. Again, we are not miracle workers, but Mark, the numbers never lie. Let's sit down and build a plan that can weather the storms and help you thrive in this next chapter called retirement.
And here are two numbers that you need to keep close. 504-732-1001. That's how you reach out to John Scallan. We have a representative standing by right now. And the other number is 0, because that's how much that initial consultation is with John and the team at Cypress Financial. You can always get more at cypressfinancial.net. And John, the markets have been all over the place. You mentioned it. What's going on geopolitically? The war in Iran, oil prices. It feels like every headline is moving the needle. I want you to hear this clip from wealth manager Victoria Green, who was on CNBC, and she said,
"We're going to move by headlines. Any bad headline tomorrow or tonight is definitely going to take markets back down because this is completely geopolitically moved right now. Fundamentals don't matter. Technicals don't matter. It's what's the news flow. And right now, we had a normal war-driven sell-off. We went down about 10%. We've gone down about 5 weeks in a row now. Are we catching a bottom?
So, John, let's talk about that. When these geopolitical headlines dominate like we're seeing right now, what's the biggest mistake that you see adults, that you see investors make?
Mark, especially during a very loud, noisy international crisis, I mean, the biggest mistake is overreacting.
Yeah.
People see the market drop 10%. They see war in the headlines every day, and sometimes people panic. I understand it. Certainly I do. People, they overreact. They sell everything. They go to cash, and then 6 months later, the market is back up and they've missed the recovery. Now, Mark, Victoria is right. Right now, fundamentals don't matter. News flow is driving everything. But here's the thing. This is temporary. We've seen it in the past. We'll see it in the future. But here's the point. Wars do end. Oil prices do stabilize. Headlines move on to the next big crisis.
But
Mark,
I want to put myself into the shoes of that adult that is worried about their portfolio. They are watching the market. We can't help but have this anxiety about these headlines, this noise in our face all the time. John, what should adults do?
Mark, the numbers do not lie. First, figure out if you actually need that piece of your money soon. Let's talk about someone hypothetically from Terrebonne Parish, say 62 years old, planning to retire at 65. He's got $800,000 saved, and the market just dropped 10%. Gets his statement, so now he looks at it and says, oh my God, I'm sitting on $720,000. Panic sets in. He's thinking, I need to sell before I lose more. But here's what I would tell him. Do you need that money in the next 3 years? The answer in his case is no, you're not retiring until age 65, so why are you selling? What you're doing is locking in a 10% loss for no reason. If this gentleman left the money alone, historically, markets have recovered from these drops and many just like it. And you're not touching that money for 3 years, so you've got time to recover. Let's make a plan. Let's stick to the plan.
Okay, so we're talking in hypotheticals here, but that 3 years, well, that should be enough time for the market to recover. But it still sounds like that we're hoping for the best. What if the market doesn't recover in 3 years?
Well, Mark, if you have a plan, this is where bucketing strategy comes in. We divide your portfolio into 3 segments based on when you will need the money. And I need to say that again. When you will need the money depends on which bucket this money is going to be put into and invested. Bucket 1 is what you will need in the next 5 years. This bucket is completely protected from market risk. Bucket number 2, it's moderate risk money that you won't need for 5 to 10 years. And bucket 3 is growth, money you won't touch for 10 plus years. So Mark, in this hypothetical scenario, when the market drops 10%, bucket 3 is down. I don't want to say you don't care, but you're not as concerned because you are not touching that money for another decade. You've got bucket 1 covering your near-term needs, so there's no reason to panic.
So we often talk about having buckets in retirement. It's not necessarily not having buckets, but it could potentially be not having the right buckets.
Very well said. I mean, if your money is in one pot and the market drops, you feel like you have this panic. But if it's bucketed, if it's siloed, you know exactly what's exposed and what's not. And listen, if all of your money is not trapped into this bucket that's going up and down, you can ride out this volatility without panicking. Here's the other thing. Geopolitical crisis creates opportunity. When everyone's selling in a panic, prices drop. That's when we're buying in bucket 3. You're buying equities that are on sale because 5 years from now, we're going to look back on this Middle Eastern crisis and Mark, in many cases, it'll just be a footnote.
And that's where you come in to help remind us that discipline is the key.
Oh, Mark, listen, one of my, maybe the best mentor that I've ever had. He says, John, discipline is the master key. And that's hard to do when headlines are screaming at you every day. But that's the difference between investing and gambling. Gamblers react to the noise. Investors, Mark, they stick to the plan.
Well, I feel like you were talking to me right there because I enjoy throwing the dice and I enjoy playing blackjack. And you said gamblers react to the noise. And I'm like, man, we have been friends for too long because you know I love the noise, the bells and the whistles of a casino, but I don't love all this noise that's in our face right now. So, John, there's an adult listening right now. They feel the same way, exactly what we're talking about right now. They're worried about the headlines. They're overwhelmed by it all. They're a little concerned about what's next for their portfolio. What can they do? What should they do?
Listen, if any of our listeners right now are just worried about this crisis, if they're nervous, if they're losing sleep, pick up the phone. 504-732-1001. Here's what we are going to do. Let's look at your portfolio and let's figure out, is it bucketed properly? Is it siloed? Is it protected so that it'll withstand some of this volatility? Do you have money you'll need soon sitting in the market and maybe invested aggressively? Or should this money be protected? Are you set up to ride out this volatility, or are you, listen, one bad headline away from panicking? These initial meetings are always complimentary. We'll stress test your plan against this kind of volatility that will allow you to stay calm when everyone else is freaking out. Listen, historically, markets recover from geopolitical crisis. The question is, will your plan survive the volatility if you're not properly positioned?
John, we remember comedian Howie Mandel. I think now he's known for America's Got Talent. He was recently on Live with Kelly and Mark, and when they told him he looked great for 70, he wasn't having it. Take a listen to this.
You just celebrated 70 years.
Yes.
You're 70 years old.
Yes, I'm 70.
Doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean it
You
doesn't
look
make
great.
any sense?
Because you
I
look-
look great? That
Yes.
doesn't mean anything
No,
to me.
it does.
means-
No. No, I don't like that because that's a caveat. Because you tell somebody you're 70 and they go, you look great.
We're not saying you look great for 70.
Yes, you are without saying 70.
We're saying
I'm saying
you
that.
look great.
I am saying
and
that.
I don't believe you're 70.
No, I'm saying.
No,
I'm saying.
it's like saying you're smart for a stupid person.
Yeah.
God, jeez, Howie Mandel, take the compliment.
Come on, man.
Jeez, I got a little sensitive there. But listen, his point was that you look great doesn't tell the whole story. And I feel like with you and what you do, retirement plans are the same way. What are some things that look good on the surface, but they're hiding problems up underneath, John?
Oh, boy, that could open up a whole 3-hour conversation. We don't have 3 hours.
Grab a cup of coffee. Let's go.
Yeah. You know, someone comes in with a 401k statement and says, quote, you're on track, and they believe it. But then we dig in and the plan falls apart under scrutiny.
Okay, I don't mean to cut you off there, but when you say we dig in, can you give me an example what you mean with this 401k?
Yeah, think about someone hypothetically from Thibodeau. Let's say he's 60 years old. He's going to retire at 65. He's got $900,000 in his 401k. His statement projects that if he retires at 65 and pulls out $60,000 a year, he will be fine until age 85. So, you know, this particular gentleman, he thinks he's set up pretty well. But here's what that projection assumes. Number one, they assume that the market is going to return 7% every year. He retires exactly at 65. He lives not a day past 85. And they're also saying that his expenses stay flat. No healthcare spikes, no market crashes. Everything goes perfectly. Now, what we say is let's go ahead and stress test it. What if the market crashes? There's a 30% loss in the market in year 2 or 3 of his retirement. What if he's forced to retire at 62 years old because of a potential health care issue? What if he lives to 95? Suddenly that plan that looked great, man, it's got some holes in it and it just doesn't work.
So the plan looked good because it assumed everything would be perfect. And by the way, John, we don't make assumptions because we know what that means.
You mean life is not perfect,
What?
Mark?
What?
I mean, we both know it. Real life, it isn't perfect. So we run his actual numbers. We say, listen, what if? Let's look at if you have to retire at 62. Let's look at if the market crashes in year 3. Living to 95, let's look at that. In this scenario, he runs out of money before he's 80 years old. Maybe he's just living on Social Security for the last 17 years of his life. Mark, and that's the problem with on-track projections. They don't account for reality. They assume smooth sailing, and we know. I mean, look around at what's happening right now. Retirement is never just smooth sailing.
So what are some of the ways to fix a situation like that?
Build guarantees into the plan. Instead of hoping that the market cooperates, we make sure his baseline expenses are covered. Social Security, pensions, and if there's a gap, we will fill it with guaranteed lifetime income. So if he needs $50,000 a year to live on, housing, utilities, food, healthcare, we make sure the $50,000 is guaranteed. The other $10,000 can come from portfolio withdrawals. If the market's up, great. If the market's down, he's still fine because his essential expenses, they're covered.
In this hypothetical situation, basically, John, what you're saying is he's not depending on the market to pay his bills.
Spot on. And Mark, that's the difference between a plan that looks good and a plan that actually works. A plan that looks good assumes everything is going to go right. A plan that assumes things will go wrong and builds protection for when they do.
So someone's been told that they're, quote unquote, on track, but they're not sure if that plan is actually solid. What can they do, John?
always pick up the phone, 504-732-1001. You can go to cypressfinancial.net, get on the calendar that way, regardless of how we get together, by phone, in person, in our office. Bring in your 401k statement. Let's stress test it. What happens if the market crashes? What happens if you live longer than expected? Mark, all of our initial meetings are complimentary. We'll run the real numbers and show you whether your plan actually works or does it just look good on paper. Remember what Howie said, you look great doesn't mean anything. And in retirement, you cannot afford to find out the hard way that your plan only looked good.
And John, real quick, know that you're serving the entire Gulf Coast, multiple locations. To find you and the team, where can we find you?
Well, Mark, we actually have clients in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Alabama, Florida. Here locally, we have 2 offices, one in Metairie, 3421 North Causeway Boulevard. We're on Florida Street in Mandeville. We'd love to meet with you. We'd love to chat with you. Let's get together and stress test your portfolio for the inevitable storms that hit all of us during this life.
Investment advisory services offered through Cypress Financial Group, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Cypress Financial Group, John Scallan, Louisiana Insurance License Number 1064997. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Cypress Financial Group. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.